Hey guys, Ultrasteel here, and today we're going to be doing some tutorials. Now in this video I'll show you the basic ins and outs in making a level. So before we get started, something I should note is when you make your level, you want it to be professional and you want it to have as less and pretty much no flaws at all in terms of how Nintendo would make it. You'll notice that their levels with their Mario games, they don't really like have hiccups or places where you get stuck and you have to restart the level in order to beat it or to proceed. Of course, you would rather die instead if that were the case. But anyways, I'll explain that later on. So at the end of each of these doors, you'll see that they're all numbered, and at the end of them, each one, you'll find a red coin. That red coin for each one will symbolize our success and knowing what the goal of each door is. Each door will have its own concept and idea. So let's get started with the first one. This is the first door that we just came in. So the first door is whenever you're going to make a concept or an idea with your level, like for example, you need to have this P-switch, or you need a trampoline, or you need this item or enemy to proceed to the other part of the level. Something you should know is that if the player messes up and let's say they get rid of it and you can't proceed, something you should take to note of is that perhaps you should have an unlimited supply, because other than that they're going to have to restart over and just, they're going to have to press start over, because that's a no-win situation. You really want to watch out for stuff like that. So there's many ways you can respawn that item or concept that you have. You can use a pipe up there, see, it'll respawn some of the items. You can also use the door, so we can go back, and it'll respawn it again. So basically you want an unlimited supply of the concept or idea that you had, just to make sure that the player isn't stuck, because if Nintendo were to make the level, they would make sure the player isn't stuck like that and, force them to continue. So that is our first lesson. So now we're going to go on to the second door. So the second door is backgrounds and designs. So when you're making your level, you might want to be a little creative. Give it some nice design. Look at the backgrounds here. There's these vines here. You combine them with the mushrooms and stuff. And then there's some tree vines right there too. Check out this flower background right here. It's pretty cool. They added some flowers on this mushroom right there. Just be creative. You want to make sure your level looks really unique. You don't want to give it the bland design. Like, try and decorate a little, have fun, So that's the second lesson of this journey. Let's move on to door 3. Alright. Number 3 is reward the player for exploring the level. So naturally, some players would just try to go straight to the end, and that we could just go here and get the obstacle and goal. So what you want to do though is you want to reward the player for exploration, and you don't want to punish them and send them down to their death like this. Or, well, not like this, but in other examples I have shown before in my past videos. So you'll notice that instead of just going to the goal and going back to where we began, I decided to explore a little bit, and I just went down here. So as a reward for that, I just checked over here and we got some coins. And it turns out our journey isn't even done yet. So because we explored, we see some rewards over here. Check this out. We got a mushroom, we got 1-up. Basically, the point of this is you want to reward the player for checking out the entirety of your level. It makes the experience overall better, I think. So now, let's go on to door number 4. Now this is a really big one, because I know some hard levels don't take this into consideration. But I really think they should. So this one will highlight that there are some sections and some levels that are so stuffed with a bunch of things that you can't even get past it without getting hit. So like, no matter, like for example, if I want to proceed, there's no way I can just run and duck. So I have to get hit. The point of this level is, or this section is that you have to get hit in order to proceed. And that's bad level design. What I recommend you do when you're playtesting your level, make sure you play through all of it as Big Mario. You know, his normal size. Because then, if you get hit while you're Big Mario, then that's kind of a design flaw. You wanna touch back on that and fix it. Because that's not professionally made, and that goes against what Mario is all about. But I digress. This is door number 5. I'm gonna go back really quick. So this one has to do with invisible blocks. So you'll notice that sometimes people like to use invisible blocks. And in that situation, I could have been dead if I didn't have the time to respond, or if I didn't even know that invisible block was there. So with invisible blocks, you always want to put them in places where it's not as dangerous, or you're not in a dangerous situation like that, and the player can actually respond. Alright, so one thing you should note with the invisible blocks is that instead of punishing the player for just, you know, trying to avoid an enemy and you just block their progress and you accidentally like fall in a pit from trying to jump and that invisible block stops them, what you need to do with them is make it so that way it actually helps them, like right here. And the way you do that is you hint where the block is. Because notice how the background here, there's like these gems and there's not one right here, and how these two fences or two backgrounds are like colliding and there's a gap. That hints that an invisible block is there. So not only do you want to help the player with the blocks, but you also want to hint where they are. So that is door number 5. Let's go to door number 6, the next lesson. And the next lesson has to do with claustrophobicness and room. You'll notice that this is really popular with maze levels where you're just trying to like, you know, advance to the level and it's just very claustrophobic and you can't really jump or move. Now this one's not as important, but it does matter to some regard because the player can feel a little, you know, squeezed in and it's just not comfortable to play with. So in this example right here, you'll see that there's more room than in the previous place we were just at. This is another version of that room, but you'll see that we can actually jump here. We're not as squeezed in. You want this kind of atmosphere to just move around. So it's very important to just be clear on that. So now we're going to go to door number 7. Now, this one we will be covering power-ups. So for this one, make sure that you don't put too many power-ups to your levels because then it might just render some challenges in your levels to be kind of pointless, because then players can just intentionally get hit, just like earlier, and it just doesn't like reward them. And it doesn't feel like there's much of a threat if you could just go on by with getting hit on purpose. So it's best to just put maybe 1 or 2 power-ups per level, or well, depending on how many like goals you have. Just make sure that for each power-up you put in, you always have like a trial or a hard mission to do after, like a hard section of the level. Because then once you get the power-up and you're like near done with that level, it just makes it kind of pointless and it's just kind of annoying. So another thing is, for beginners of the game or just casual players, it's best to just put a power-up after each checkpoint. Just that way it gives them something to work with and they can bounce back more effectively. So that'll be this lesson. Alright. One more thing with the power-ups. Going back to how some players would just randomly use the power-ups to their advantage and just intentionally get hit just to run on by through the level. That's bad level design. For right here, you have to get hit, unfortunately. You don't want to do that. You always want to make sure that your levels are possible to get by without getting hit intentionally. So this part just shows us that, okay, we shouldn't have to rely on getting hit intentionally with power-ups. That goes against everything that Mario goes for. Mario is not supposed to get hit, so that's that. So let's move on to the next lesson. here's lesson 8, the last door, or one of the last doors. So lesson 8, this is for sealing things off, pathways. You'll notice that in some rooms and some of your levels, you may put a very powerful item or a very powerful feature, or just something that you don't like the player to abuse or go back to, and you rather just keep them in a place to where they won't get lost. For example, right here, like this is the boss room that we're gonna face. This is Bowser. So you want the player to just fight him, and it's focused on him, so we can't go back. So this tells us that this is our goal, and this is the place we have to go to. Sealing things off can be very important for letting players know where to go and what's important in progression. So that's the concept of sealing things off. Alright, so I think that just covers everything, except one more thing. In the end, you also want to make sure you play test your levels, because sometimes, even though you think things may go right for a few times, sometimes Mario Maker is not the best system of tools, as there can be glitches and hiccups. You'll notice that every time I come back and forth, the results in this scenario are a bit different. We're going to try and get past those Koopa Troopas, but notice that sometimes there's more coming in there, or there's just no-win situations. You want to avoid that. Make sure you play test your level, and you're able to differentiate chances of winning and not. So make sure you always fix little hiccups like that. Because you'll notice that right when we came back here, it's inconsistent, and there were different results this time. Just now, there were more Koopa Troopas in there. But once you come back, now there's 2 of them. You always want to play test your level and make sure that nothing goes wrong like that. So that's that. It can be very damaging. So yeah, that's all in all the episodes and lessons for this section. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next part of Super Mario Maker, which we will be covering the final world of my levels. So thank you guys for watching my tutorials. If you want more tips or you want me to make another tutorial video, let me know down below in the comments. So thank you guys for watching, and have a nice day. Take care, peace, and have a good night.